Hey everybody, this is Way to Fail with another Scrolls Ranked replay, where today we have a game between Antirad, I almost said Ant Raid, but that's not what it is, versus iwantanickplease. These are two of the top players in the game, both above 2,000 rating. I believe both in the top 50, maybe even higher, but I thought this was an interesting game to take a look at. It's going to be Order versus Decay. And this is from Antirad's perspective, and if you're familiar with him, you're familiar with that he plays Order. And his opening hand, oh, what an opening hand it is. Kabonk, 2 speeds, Imperial Resources, and a wing shield. So if you thought maybe Antirad was doing something quick with this hand, well, think again, because there's not a lot he can play early here at all. Especially against Decay, which iwantanickplease is showing now, where Kabonk is not as strong of a card as maybe against some other resources, but we just get some back and forth. Antirad getting not too much he can use at this point. Royal Spearman's pretty good, although the spiky damage can have some negative impacts against some of the Decay cards, so he gets rid of it right now. It looks like Antirad's just playing a slow game, not putting anything down until iwantanickplease put stuff down. And he gets a Blightbearer down first, which is interesting. Looks like a good card against Order, too. I mean, it takes poison damage every time it attacks, but the possibility of dumping poison damage everywhere is pretty nice. But Antirad doing 1 Kabonk damage, so it's only going to get 3 attacks now, or 2 attacks now instead of 3, because it does take poison damage before. iwantanickplease with the Illmire Hunter out, and Antirad still just looking for cards, fishing for cards. Actually, really interesting move there. He gets rid of the wing shield. That means he's gotten rid of both of his wing shields now. And he's gotten rid of most of his creatures. He's holding on to his speeds, his Imperial Resources, and his flips. So not the usual play I see from Order players here. He does have a Night Scholar. Maybe that'll be coming out eventually. But for now, iwantanickplease getting creatures out without much debate or without much trouble here. As an Oblivion Seeker, has a nice friendly line of units. Antirad getting rid of his 3rd wing shield as well, and electing instead to get out the Night Scholar, so maybe that'll be some extra card draw. I guess if there is a tenant in Order play, it is just try and get to Imperial Resources and ramp, because right now it looks like Antirad doesn't really have much of another choice, especially with 2 Imperial Resources. And I was wondering maybe if he'd use the flip to try and dodge with this Night Scholar and put him on the top row, but that doesn't seem to be the case at this point. Nickplease, if he does attack with all of these units, he's not going to be able to kill him even. Can knock it down to 1 health if he wants to, but it looks like he's going to get out an Illmire Rod Eater instead, so that's interesting. If he can place that next to our good friend the Blightbearer next turn, then it'll be pretty happy times for the very, very hungry Rod Eater. Antirad being an interesting move here, using the card draw for the drawing scroll here, instead of killing the Oblivion Seeker, which would give 2 scrolls to Nickplease, or attacking the Blightbearer, which would just sentence this Night Scholar to death. Unfortunately, that 1 scroll was a Blessing of Haste, so there's not too much for Antirad to play right now. He actually gets rid of the Royal Vanguard. Good lord. This is so many people's nightmare against Order right here. He has nothing on the board, but he has 2 Imperial Resources in hand, plays 1, gets an Honorable General. That'll be good with 2 speeds. Nickplease, on the other hand, just moving and shuffling his units around. He's got to at least be worried about maybe a double Imperial Resources here. But for now, the Illmire Hunter doing its Slayer thing, killing whatever it touches. And there's the double Imperial Resources. So tons of cards right there. Nickplease saying, oh, that sucks. But Antirad getting a slow hand and actually drawing cards on top of what he already had. And let's look at his hand real quick while Nickplease is shuffling some units here and having 6 Decay. 2 speeds, Blessing of Haste, 2 focus, and then some creatures. Lots of utility here. But still, right now, even with all these cards, Nick having the distinct advantage, because these cards aren't going to be able to necessarily save the world all in one go. It almost feels like Ant Raid may be fishing for a Mangonel if he plays it. But for now, the Blightbearer taking poison damage before it attacks, thereby buffing the Rod Eater. So good play there. Transposition, I guess there's something you can do with that once you get creatures on the board. But for now, Antirad's stuff is in trouble. So there's a Royal Vanguard. So it looks like he's starting to try and do something from the top here, perhaps. Gets out a Ducal Skirmishers while maybe going for a Speed General play next turn. So Nickplease right now definitely control the board, especially with the Damning Curse there. Good lord. That poor Ducal Skirmisher. Pretty much right now, anything that Antirad puts on the board, Nickplease is going to be able to come back from. But still, just the sheer amount of cards. And there's a 3rd Imperial Resources that he can just I don't know, play and say, I have a ton of resources. But if you play Imperial Resources too much, Decay or a bunch of creatures can overwhelm you. So Anti-Red's got to start doing something affirmative here just to get things going. And right now he's debating just a little bit, putting down a Royal Skirmisher as well, not playing the speed because he doesn't have the resources for it. And what's it going to be for Nick, please? There's the growth, and there's the Puppet Soldier. Oh no, Anti-Rad. There we go. You put two units on the same row, and there goes your poor Puppet nutrition combo. And some may say that was a 2-for-2 trade, but quite the 2-for-2 trade. It clears Anti-Rad's board. Nick, please, being able to just stomp his way through his first idol here. Other idols definitely in danger. Anti-Rad playing the Imperial Resources, and oh boy, drawing 2 Mangonels. That is going to possibly get him back in this game right now. His 2 Mangonels is, I guess, what he's been looking for this whole time. He's not going to be able to play anything this turn. He has Pothers. He has a Ducal Infantryman that he probably should play just as a chump blocker. And he's going to drop him up there just to make sure this idol doesn't randomly fall or get close to the teetering point. Whew. So Nick, please, in a great position, but the question is he going to be able to clear all of these idols in time? If there's one thing that's really rough for Decay, you need cards like Blessing of Haste, because otherwise they don't have ways to speed up hardly. Yes, you can speed up some of your undead units in Decay, but it doesn't do a lot of good here. So there's one Pother, right away draws a second Pother, and oh wow! That was some good fortune there, just being able to clump these units all together, and there's a Mangonel. Nick, please, calling lucky is as lucky does. That's true. There's the speed. Is there going to be a focus as well to take out this Witch Doctor? Otherwise, it's going to be a very happy Rod Eater. So what's it going to be? Just there's the initial card draw. There's the focus too. So Anti-Rad putting down a Skirmisher and just knocking 3 units all at one go. That's where the speed Mangonel combo is still there, but you really got to work for it. And we can do the probability on those Pothers real quick if we take a pause here. That Rod Eater could have gone any direction, but it had a 20% chance of going this way next to the Witch Doctor. This other unit had a 50% chance of going this way, so you can do the math yourself for now. Nick, please, hiding his Oblivion Seeker behind the Rod Eater. There's one 10 health idol exposed at the bottom, if he can get it. But Anti-Rad having a possible answer here with another speed focus Mangonel combo. If he can pother this unit the right way, he can't. So what do we got? We got plenty of possibilities here right now. But let's hear. He could speed Mangonel. He could speed General, actually, and possibly buff this guy. And that's what it looks like he might be doing here. There's the speed General. And I guess the question for me is, what is he going to take out right now? He does have the Mangonel as well. If he drops the Mangonel, that's going to put it down to 0 countdown, because that's just how Mangonels play. And that Mangonel, because it's in the middle row, it's going to attack before the General. And oh, nifty move there. The Blightbearer dying and poisoning the Ilmire Hunter. It's not going to be poisoned for more than 3 turns. But that could be enough. So right away, Anti-Rad going from doomed at turn 10 to definitely in control by turn 14. But that's Imperial Resources. I'm sure I will hear about it in the comments for this video. Oh, but Nick, please, playing the Oblivion Seeker, playing a Tethered Recruit, just trying to get something going here. Takes out the Skirmisher with what attack he has, but Anti-Rad getting another Honorable General, dumping the focus, getting a Blessing of Haste. This could be GG, or very close to it, within just a few turns. He could potentially play Transposition as well, just to see what other cards he draws, but for now, it's going to be the General on the board. 2 Generals is a pretty scary sight, especially when you have no way to accelerate your poor Ilmire Hunter. So Nick, please, how's he going to respond? He gets the Harvester down. Maybe not the card he wanted right now compared to before when all the Mangonel play was coming. So strong opening hand. Probably would have liked a Damning Curse there or something, but Anti-Rad, oh no, getting multiple Kabonks, dropping the Mangonel. And there's going to be a Kabonk on one unit. He could Kabonk and kill the Ilmire Hunter, or he could Blessing of Haste and just get this whole party started. And interestingly, he could have kept the General there and chained all of the cooldowns if he just played Blessing of Haste on this General, because that would have carried over and knocked down that Mangonel as well. Not that the fire would have done a lot of good. But there we go, Anti-Rad moving his units around. That Oh no, that Mangonel, because it has the Royal Vanguard buff, is actually going to kill the Harvester. I'm saying oh no so much. This is exactly what Antirad needs to do to get back in the game is, oh, I want a Nick, please. Starting from so much, getting 2 idols down fast, but not being able to keep up. Whew. So he drops the lifesteal, and actually there is the surrender right there. He has 5 cards in his hand, but just this board is overwhelming. So Antirad with the victory, and like I said, I thought this game was interesting, at least insofar as Antirad started out with nothing. But if you want to see kind of a playbook of how to deal with Decay's order, I mean, it's about the same as anything else. You get your Imperial Resources, you hope for your Mangonels, and you go. Antirad having a solid strategy, despite not playing Purification, but I want a Nick, please, not really playing Poison or anything like that either. What we have instead is the Puppet combo, which came into play, but overall, Antirad was able to wait it out, get his units up, get some lucky pothers, to be honest, and then Mangonel his way back into the game, certainly able to flip the script here. So once again, this is way to fail with another ranked replay, a little bit shorter today, but I thought this game was interesting enough to at least show, hey, look, it's a good comeback. It's a pretty significant comeback here as Antirad jumping up and rating to 2015 here. I want a Nick, please, dropping down a little bit. But hey, this is way to fail. That's it for now. Hope you all enjoyed it. I will see you all in the near future with more Scrolls content. Take care.